Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. This is the Technology Learning Collaborative webinar, Be a Canva Boss, where our friends from PhillyCAM will be sharing some tips and information about how to use Canva to design flyers and other materials. My name is Kate Rivera. I'm a consultant with the Technology Learning Collaborative. I'll start by sharing a little bit with you about TLC. So TLC is a professional development organization dedicated to digital literacy providers and advocates. Our mission is to drive the digital literacy, access, and inclusion conversation in Philadelphia by promoting professional collaboration, training, and networking among organizations and institutions that have a dedicated interest in moving these areas forward. If you're not already familiar with us, I will drop a link in the chat here. You can connect with us on our website or on social media. We do, if you're not already a member, we have an email listserv, a Google group where we share events and resources and information. And we also have a Slack community where folks can connect more with other individuals who are doing digital inclusion work and chat a little bit more and connect and share more resources. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved and connect with other people who may be also interested in the digital inclusion space. So just a couple quick housekeeping notes before I turn things over to our presenters. This webinar is being recorded and it will be posted on the TLC YouTube channel probably later this week. So if you want to rewatch it, or if you know someone who missed it and wants to tune in, they'll be able to watch it there. We'll also be emailing the presentation slides to everyone who registered for today's event. And if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, feel free to drop those in the chat and we will get to them. And with that, I will turn things over to Laura and Gabe from PhillyCAM to introduce themselves and start our presentation.
Great. I'm going to just drop some opening questions in the chat for you all to think about as Gabe and I introduce yourself, and then it's good for us to just get to know who's in the room. My name is Laura Deutsch. I'm the education director here at PhillyCAM, and I would say I use Canva to develop flyers, to promote workshops, and we've also been using some of the video features to do some really simple video production with folks starting off, and to just add a little motion and flavor to some social media posts that we want to design. So I'll pass it to Gabe.
Yes, hi, I'm Gabe. I use she, they pronouns, and I am the member programming manager at PhillyCAM. And I have been using Canva for a long time. It has helped me make a lot of things over the years, primarily posters, some flyers to kind of promote certain events that we had at PhillyCAM, whether those are physical or ones that we would use digitally on social media. I also use it to create my PowerPoint presentations, and I'm just starting to use the video feature. So I'm also learning alongside it because it's always kind of growing and adapting. And I also use it for my own promotional materials for programs that I have as well.
Okay, great. So yeah, the questions in the chat are: how familiar are you with Canva? What do you use it for if you do use it? And if there's anything specific you hope to gain from this session. We definitely will kind of do an overview of all of the, not all of the features, but we'll go beyond flyers to look at some of the video functionality, how you can bring simple animation into your graphics, and how to really like prepare before you even enter Canva. We'll talk about that, and then we'll do an activity together to create some content, and then we'll leave room for questions at the end. So that's the general overview. Great. So Canva it's a free program. You can access it on your desktop through a web browser, canva.com, or it's downloadable as an app. I've never used the app, so I can't really speak to that. I think because most of the work we do is more design, it's nice to have the big, the big screen. So we'll kind of be talking about what it looks like on a, on a computer, on a browser window, but it is an app, and there is a pro version. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the benefits you would get from the pro version, but we're really going to focus on what you can do for free. So you don't get caught up in having to subscribe to another website. We all know what that's like.
You can get a lot done on the free version. Do not feel pressured.
Cool. Okay, great. So we wanted to start and just show some examples of materials that we've produced at PhillyCAM. We're going to show some examples of flyers, presentation, curriculum templates, and then 2 short video examples. And then, we'll get into how we actually made them and what features we used. Pass it to Gabe.
Yes. So do you want to show them, Laura? And then I'll yeah, so we'll start with some flyer examples. We have workshops that happen and events that we have at PhillyCAM, including this one, which is speed crewing, which is like speed dating, but to find crew for your production, right? And so we use this. It's very simple. It has all of the information that you need in order to, the goal was to print those out to have elsewhere. But I could take some of those elements to put on our website to promote it. This is like one of our workshops, right, for our youth media workshops. So this could be a digital, this is like primarily digital for people to kind of see online and see what is available. Let's see.
And this is kind of the back end of what it looks like. So I'm just kind of clicking through like past projects, so you'll sort of see them load.
Yeah, so this is a good one representing like our upcoming workshops that are there. Just has all the standard information that you need in just like a really creative way. And what's helpful is like, we'll get to those, but the templates are really amazing and helpful to kind of get the basics of what design is. Those are for specific workshops that we have. I teach a podcasting class, and so this is like one of the assignments that we print out and have for folks so that they can just fill it out, but it's designed right there in Canva, and then as well as this one. So these are 2 like workshop activities that people can fill out, and they're like pleasing to the eye. They're very clean. And it was super simple to create them.
When I go to the annual report. Cool. So I'll just kind of click through this. Gabe can talk a little. This is like a little bit more of an extensive
So this is our annual member report. So every year we kind of look back at what we've accomplished. So this is a great way to kind of share what has happened over the year. And so it features, photos from events and just write-ups from different departments sharing their information. So there's a few different things happening in here, right? There's a lot of photos that are here. Some cool tools that we'll kind of go through as well to make these images pop. But the whole thing was created right there in Canva and was able to be engaging and exciting and also like informative for our members and anyone else who's like, what has PhillyCAM been up to?
Cool. Okay, great. I'm going to show a few video examples. So this was I won't show the whole thing, but well, let me can kind of walk through it. So this was an Instagram series an intern initiated for Women's History Month. And so she created the template in Canva, and then we did a call out to members and we gave them some prompts and they contributed short video responses about community media, about their programming, and then we folded that into this Instagram post. So it's a little extra than just having someone submit a cell phone video, but it didn't take a lot of extra design work. Okay. And then our youth media manager, Ariel, does a lot in Canva to both promote upcoming programs, and also this is an example. I'll stop sharing and then I'll share again with audio just so we can have that experience. Okay. So this is a short video that just introduces some producers of a youth radio show.
Hi, my name is Genesis Diaz, and what media means to me is to be able to express myself, whether that be radio, film, podcast, sharing experiences and visuals. I think is really fun.
So everything that you're hearing was just recorded as a voiceover. We don't actually have any video of these students. And then it's kind of layered in with another musical track. And then this kind of graphic design was built out, but it all kind of started from a template. So you can notice the sizing is different. So we'll talk a lot about why templates are useful and why Instagram would use something that's more square. And if you're making something for a video, you want it to be, this is a little extra wide, a little wider than we would need, but there's different sizes for different platforms. And the last one I'll show, this is another kind of Instagram post. I think this has some music. Maybe it's not in playing back, but this kind of has one audio track, and then it's basically kind of a series of stills, or just kind of like one short still with some animation. So again, I think the nice thing with Canva is it lets you use materials that you have and just kind of add a little extra flair to them in a way that's eye-catching and lets them stand out while somebody's in the scroll mode, right? Like, what is that extra thing that might make your sort of image pop? And I think ultimately communicate a little bit more effectively. Cool. Okay, great. Yeah, so I kind of want to see, what do you think before we kind of jump into Canva? What are some things that you all have found you need to have in place before you might even start designing something? This isn't necessarily like a trick question, but what are some things you think about before you make a flyer or think about making some piece of content that you're going to be sharing? You can put it in the chat or you can unmute. Logos and photos from events. Yep. Date and description, the audience. Great. Even creating a storyboard or outline. Awesome. In Canva, the concept of a storyboard translates very well because it organizes itself in terms of pages, which is very much kind of like a storyboard frame if you're used to doing that kind of planning. How many languages will I include? Yeah. So how text heavy is it versus how visual? And particularly, I think with audience, keeping it simple, Gabe, maybe this would be a good time to talk about it, thinking about where it's going and how you can use, for example, captions on social media, or how if you're creating a flyer and it needs to be on a bulletin board, it needs to have a lot of information because someone's going to stop and look at it. But that same flyer on a bulletin board might not make sense as an Instagram post.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to say anything kind of more about
I think
or just like launch into the program?
Yeah, I think we can kind of hop in there, but yeah, because one of the benefits to Canva is that it does a lot of some of the guesswork for you regarding sizing, right? Because every social media platform or different thing that you're using has a specific sizing requirement. Like Instagram has those squares, but if you're going to do like a story, those are going to be longer versus something that goes on TV, which would be 1920 by 1080. Flyers are like the size of a piece of paper, right? So you want to, like, it kind of does that work for you in having like these templates and already having those designs. But another part of that is like, if you want to reproduce this piece to go across different social media platforms or to different areas, you also want to consider like, what is the best use for those areas? So for Twitter, for example, you don't get a lot of words that you're able to type out and explain. So a lot of those would have to be included on the image. Whereas on Facebook or Instagram, you can take your time with just having like fewer words on there to kind of just grab someone's attention and not overwhelm them, and then include any additional information in your actual text of that. So it's just something to consider. And that's like what you want to start thinking of before you even start is like, where is this going and how we can best use those platforms or the way that we're presenting the information to the best of its ability in those spaces.
Cool. Okay, great. So this is Canva. So I was just, when you kind of open, you know, what will you design? So clicking through some of these preset templates, right? You see there's a lot of specificity. So like an Instagram reel might have a different template than even a story versus maybe you just want a business card or some marketing materials. You know, I see a lot of student templates now where I'm like, or student resumes, I'm like, oh, that was done in Canva. It looks nice. You know, it's like a bump up from Microsoft Word. You start to sort of notice some of these things when you get familiar with Canva. You're like, oh, I thought they had a, you know, I thought they knew Adobe Illustrator. Oh, Gabe did that in Canva. That's pretty like remarkable. So you can kind of search. I think templates are the best place to start. And I think with templates, you really have to think about, when I look for templates, I'll go to the kind of social media, for example, I would look at it from the sense of not necessarily, your content isn't the same. So you're promoting a gardening workshop. You're not looking for a gardening template, but you're looking for something that might have like the color palette or the design elements or like the type and quantity of like information you're looking for, and know that then all of that is customizable. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go into templates, and maybe what I'll do, Gabe, is just kind of go into one of our projects and then kind of we can talk about it backwards a little bit. Okay, so let's go into okay, so we'll just kind of go into a workshop flyer. Okay, so once you kind of search for a template, you can pick a template. Well, we can add it as a new page. Like I said, Canva works in the sense of pages. So a page could be an individual print item or like piece of content, or it can be a series that's exported together as a video. So your pages kind of become like frames almost. And so I'm going to kind of just kind of do like a little bit of a tour through the interface, and then we can kind of go through some of the specific elements within these designs. Okay, so you get the template, and then it's very kind of like drag and droppy. Everything is kind of movable. You can replace the text. So it's like if you like this and you're not doing a business marketing workshop, but you're doing like a tour of, I don't know, you know, downtown, it's fine. You don't like this guy, you put in your own photo. So kind of look at templates with kind of the eye of what seems to kind of match like the tone and type of information that you've already collected. The elements, so the kind of elements are in the way that Canva uses elements are almost like graphic line elements. So these are all preloaded within Canva. If you see a little crown, it means that there's a fee associated with it. Sometimes if you find something you really like, the fee might be like 10 cents. Like I've like bought something and I'm like, this is worth it. I just need that icon. And like, I'm going to pay the 10 or 20 or 50 cents. With the pro account, you get access to, you know, you don't have to obviously like pay per item, but there are things you can just kind of pay for item if you find something appealing. There's stock video and there's stock photos. So again, we can also give you some resources. Maybe we can drop in the chat for places where you can find stock and Creative Commons and copyright free images. So, and then there's kind of some framing devices. So it's like you want your photos in a circle or you want a grid of something. You would kind of use these frames, and we can show you, this is kind of an example of like the frame of the photos in the circle. The uploads are going to be your photos and videos, and it's pretty forgiving with the format, and you can kind of literally drag and drop things in, and then they become part of like your arsenal of assets that you're using. So think about kind of what you want to gather your images beforehand so you can load them up. And these are some videos I've recorded on my phone and gathered still images from different places. And then literally when you're ready to use them, you kind of drag them over and you can start, you know, designing or populating the template. So for example, if I'm using, you know, this template and I want to swap out this background image, I could drag it over and then not the best image because maybe what I want is not there. Maybe I could kind of make it a little bit bigger. Can play with it a little bit. Not the best image. Maybe Thesena would be a better image. So again, you do want to kind of think about, and everything is like very customizable, but sort of thinking about like, what are you working with and what are the elements, and trying to find templates that kind of make sense for it. Audio, you can bring in your own audio. So like you saw in the youth media, Ariel had a student just do like a voiceover recording. So let's say you want to record a short invitation and then put that underneath a series of images. You can record that and then bring that over as an MP3 from your phone. Okay. Okay, there's text. I won't really kind of get into this. There's stylized text and then there's just kind of regular text. These are a stock audio that come with Canva. So if you just kind of want an ambient track, or you can import your own music. These are the stock videos. And then some of the other, in the upload section, there's also a, sorry, where did I was just going to show the record.
I don't know where that is.
I just had it. Oh, maybe I have to be in a video and not in, yeah, I have to probably be in video, not in the slide. There's a way you can kind of self-record. So I can, when I find another template, I can show you that. I feel like I'm kind of zipping around. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute just to see. Cool. So great. So in the chat, Gabe shared some other sites to look for images. So what you don't want to do is like, oh, I need a photo of someone in a park. I'm just going to Google it and then like, you know, bring it onto your flyer. There are like a good number of sites, Pexels, Pixabay, Creative Commons, where you can find some stock images. If you have trouble kind of generating your own material for flyers. And then Canva has a lot of that within it itself.
Mm-hmm.
And same with sound, kind of in audio. Okay, I'm gonna pause and get into, pull up one of the video.
Another thing that I do, just if you are working with multiple different projects, or maybe it's like different workshops or different goals, you can also create folders in Canva to better organize where everything is. I've been, like I said, been using Canva for a long time, and so I was just uploading directly to the upload field, and like old photos that I would love to use again are just like far down, and just kind of lost in the fray of all that. So instead I create folders now where I'm like, I know where this is about, like, you know, the basic field workshop. So I'm going to store a bunch of photos in there that pertain to that workshop, and all the flyers or promotional material are in that folder too. That way I know where everything is. And if later I'm like, I need to pull from that, it's easier for me to find than to kind of search, because it's kind of like another storage place as well, for your photos and your designs.
Someone had a question about auto-generated captions. I don't think that's a function within Canva. Do you know, Gabe? That's
not to my knowledge.
I will say in this kind of more section, they're always adding like more. So this is kind of a way that it actually lets you directly connect to Pixabay, which is the website we mentioned that has free images. You can connect directly to Dropbox or Google Drive, or if you keep things on Flickr. So there might be something in here, but I've never used auto-generated captions within Canva particularly.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, some of the platforms that you're using might have them, but there's also some websites that I've used for captions. So I'll put this in the chat as well.
Cool. So yeah, I just wanted to show in the, if I do want to make a video, or let's say that we can do this as a, actually, let me do this story, Instagram story. Instagram story. I wonder. Story videos. Oh, interesting. So the record yourself is, you have to kind of be in a video mode. So I wanted to show. So you can kind of start with a blank anything too if the templates kind of overwhelm you, and then you can always kind of bring in elements. If you go to uploads, you have the option to actually record yourself. I don't know if with the 2 cameras it'll show up. But so this is kind of a nice like new feature I didn't even know was here. If you're doing some kind of tutorial, you can choose to do camera and screen, or you can just kind of make yourself big on the screen and have a video recording. So again, it's kind of, you could save the step of recording yourself on your phone and trying to import it. You could use your webcam and upload it directly to Canva, and then have, you know, a piece of video that then you add images or other elements to. Okay. Gabe, do you want to talk about any of the pro features? I could bring up the report. Would that be useful?
Yeah. So like I said, a lot of these things you can do on your own without having to pay for the pro features. But if you are interested, there are some pretty interesting things that I've been using that are really helpful. So one of the biggest examples is right there in the front page. We have these awesome little cutouts of our members, which is awesome. These are just regular photos, and I used, if you go up to edit image, hit cancel, and then yeah, edit image. There's background remover, and it's pretty intuitive. It knows what people are, but you can also, like, when you do it, you can either, you know, go in and kind of get a little more detailed if someone, like, they lift out an arm or something, but it honestly, I don't have to do much cleaning up when it comes to that, and so that has been really helpful. Kind of adds a little more flair. Also in like all of these, there's some really cool just effects that you can put onto things. So they have like the photogenic, but they also, like, when you scroll down in that column on the left, yeah, there's all of these that you can kind of add, and most of those aren't even pro, they're just there. So like the duotone I used, I essentially just copied like Gretchen there, I copied her, and then I made her background image the duotone. So it looks like this interesting shadow. But the cutouts was there. But you'll see, like, throughout that some of the templates or certain images, logos, graphics will be pro that you might want. And if it seems like there's more, then it's worth to just buy them individually. You can have access to all of them. The other really helpful thing with pro is that when you have a free account, you can't resize images right from the project. So if I do have something that is designed for, say, Facebook, so it's like a bigger image, like it's supposed to be just kind of this flyer, but then I want to kind of translate it to something on Instagram, so it'll be that perfect square, to resize it for these different pieces, you have to have a pro account, or you can kind of copy the elements into a new template. I've done that where I've had to, like, you still have to kind of shift things around, but it does make it really simple to be able to have the ability to just hit resize, and it brings over your content.
Yeah, so what I just did, folks kind of caught that. I just pulled up a workshop flyer. I was like, okay, I have this flyer. It has kind of like a lot of information. It's meant to be printed, but I want to create it as maybe like a Facebook post. So it's going to kind of make it more square, and then I could still kind of go in and move stuff around if it did kind of crop something unnaturally or space it out, but at least then you have kind of, yeah, like a quicker new version and you're not starting kind of from scratch. So that's a nice feature.
You can also store your logos, which is something that you can't do if you're using the free ones. So you get like a brand kit, so you can have your logos, your colors, and other graphics that are essential that are easier to just like go in and click, and they're available on like the left hand side when you're designing, and those are super helpful when you want to keep things uniform and always kind of include those pieces or keep in mind like what you the colors of your organization are and things like that.
Yeah, so let's say I have a slide and I want to, it's in, okay, where would I find the
logos is down the bottom.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's kind of like a bank. So if I know I always want to access the PhillyCAM logo, it's separate from kind of just where I would store my images and uploads. And then I can kind of access it and you know, drag it over, resize. Yeah, the other feature that it's not a pro feature, but I think is really nice about Canva is it has this kind of animate. And so it'll add, you can kind of pick a type of transition, and you can do this by page or by text. So it's like, even if you have your flyer and you just want it to do that, you know, like that little extra of that might be nice. You know, it takes zero time. And it's just kind of picking one of these automated transitions that's under animate. And you can kind of do it like for the individual elements or for the whole page. And then when you're ready to export, you kind of have some different options to download. So you want to make sure you're downloading the right, if you have something that's animated, you would download it as an MP4 video. A GIF would be just kind of like a super short animation with no sound. So even kind of like something like that, where it's just some still elements that have some movement, but you want to upload them in as a motion file, JPEG, PDF. Cool. And then what's also nice is you can share design. So for example, I'm working with Gabe on this presentation, and then she can actually go in and edit this with me. So I'm like, oh, what do you think? And she's like, oh, I don't like that photo. I want to, like, I don't know, use this other photo instead. Then she can kind of make those edits. And so it's kind of like a Google Doc where then you're sharing, you know, the same template and the same design. Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. Okay, stop share. Okay, great. So folks are saying ways to get Canva, an educator version that's free and approved for nonprofits. Okay, awesome. Yeah, and Canva is always adding things too, so it's helpful to like keep an eye on it, like, you know, or I don't know how responsive they are, but maybe something like, hey, having this caption feature would be really useful. Maybe could get someone to develop it. Okay, so we were gonna go through and design something together so folks could see kind of from start to finish what it would look like. I'm wondering if I can also kind of pull up some of maybe the social media posts, and people can kind of see what they look like in Canva, if that would be useful. I know we're covering a lot in an hour, and if this is new to people, it can feel like kind of pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, I would say the best thing to do on Canva, especially if you're new, is just to go in and poke around, right? Like click through the templates are really helpful. Not in just like knowing what sizing things should be, but also like it helps with graphic design for anyone who's just like isn't familiar with that. You can find some similar themed or things in the same like emotional template, right? And that could really help you like inform your own design. So you don't always have to like take exactly what they're doing, but you can learn like, oh, it like, you know, this text works really well when it's complemented by this kind of text. So just kind of poking around in there and designing something that feels authentic to your organization or what you're trying to get the attention of.
Mhm. Cool. So I'll just, so this is kind of the actual file for the Women in Community Media series. This is kind of a different video. You can kind of see it lays it out per page. And this did start as an Instagram post template. And this is kind of a video element that was brought over and laid on top. These are all Canva elements. These, I'm not sure about the Philly skyline. These definitely look like kind of Canva people. These kinds of like, there's a lot of this kind of like motion, like kind of social media motion that you can find in the elements as well. And when you put it together, you know.
Hi, my name is Erin Fallon, and I'm an independent student filmmaker.
So the idea of a storyboard, if you storyboard
favorite
this
thing about what
out,
I
it
do
becomes
is
really
Like the
helpful.
perfect shot, and editing is probably
Just so you can so it's sort of like per page, you're like, okay, I want to open with my title slide. I'm going to have a short video introduction. Here, she kind of posted the question and then had the response to the question. And that was the format. And then at the end, like, where can we find out more about you? And that was the template for those. But should we do one together? Let's do one together.
Yeah, so let's
Gabe,
get an
you want-
example of what someone might need created, right? Is there an event that's coming up or a workshop, something that you want to promote in some way?
Gabe, do you want me to do the screen share and you can kind of help with the comments, help direct? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And this
Anyone
could be a
wanna-
fictional event. If nobody has something, just be like, I want to promote my neighbor's strawberry party.
Series
Okay.
of interviews for 50th anniversary. Yeah.
Okay,
All
great.
right.
Okay, so a series of interviews that will be for primarily video to share on YouTube, Instagram. Where is it going to be?
Instagram.
Instagram. Okay.
Excellent. So that's also like a kind of a trick too, because Instagram has reels and stories. So it's also like where on Instagram you'd want to share it. I would say, yeah, let's try a reel because that would also show up on Facebook pretty well. And they're pretty similar. So that's just like something to consider, like with the sizing. So like people will be able to watch them on Instagram.
Mhm. Okay, so this is the template and you'll see down here, these are kind of the pages and you can kind of add pages. So let's say we have 3 interviews and then maybe an open and a closing slide. What should we call this project, or what's the tone of this project? Should we start with what's the feel? Nature, pop, are the interviews with
Wildlife refuge.
okay. Ooh.
Maybe the up top, the explore jungle. What's that like?
Okay.
It's kind of nice.
Mhm. So this kind of came in as one 15-second. Let me kind of delete these so you can see. And so what you could do is, if you like this, we can duplicate it. And then within each kind of frame, this could become like your video, for example. So I don't really, let's see, I don't know. I don't think this is gonna work.
To record it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a little.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I can kind of be.
Yeah. But you would be able to like upload, like someone could send you that video. Yeah. And like you could change, so you change that video, and then maybe instead of explore jungle, it would say, you know, the name of the person, or maybe like, and then below it in the follow for more content, that could be like actually a quote that someone said, like as part of this, to kind of like amplify their message.
You know, members go through and they take our classes and they learn a lot.
It's also asking like, what does this film want?
This was like a random video that kind of I picked, but you kind of see how by dragging it in, that was a 3-minute video. So that kind of like monopolized our view, but so it's kind of like a whole video that's now kind of like framed with these other elements, which is kind of confusing and not necessarily what we want to do. The thing with video, I'll say that's kind of tricky in Canva is it's good with trimming. So let's say you have a 2-minute video and you messed up at the beginning and then something happened at the end, you can trim it. You don't want to use Canva to start. It's not like a great video editor. So you don't want to record for 5 minutes and then be like, oh, cut here, move this around. Like it's not good at cutting things out in the middle and moving them around. It's good for, delete this. It's good for, yeah, short clips. So if you're collecting these interviews on your phone and someone messes up in the beginning and the end, then you just need to trim it. That will go in there kind of nicely. I would say, I haven't used this for video, so I'm a little like, oh, where would you trim the video? I know where to do that in the video.
If you click the, like one of these, I think so maybe, yeah. So like if you double click inside the timeline, you drag the ends. And that's editing it, which is really tedious because you have to find exactly where
kind of
you
where
want it to clip. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like this whole thing becomes your kind of video now. So if it's like you wanna find the spot where they start talking, you would sort of drag it and end it. Okay, well, let's say, what are these interviews about?
So it was it's visitors to the refuge telling stories about their memories there.
Okay. So we might want like a title page. Right?
Like introducing them.
Yeah, so something that says welcome to, this is where I'm not, this is where you go down the hole of like, I don't know, which font do I want and what do I want? And that's where the templates are really useful, because I'm like, oh, maybe this is clean and I just kind of keep this instead of trying to like, I think there's a lot of like, wow, that it's easy to get kind of carried away.
Yeah.
Laura, I'm like tempted to just like share my screen because I have Canva Pro and I'm like, I got all the fonts. This is a real project I can do right now.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to show what you're working on?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I'm hijacking.
No, please do. Yeah, I don't want to recreate something that's already done. I think it'll be good for other people to see, and then we can kind of open it up to questions. Yeah.
Okay, well, I haven't tried to do this video thing, so this is very cool to me. But all right, how do I guess I could just share my screen. I was not expecting to do this. Okay, so this is what we have, and then we have a folder just for the 50th anniversary stuff. So I've created flyers and a logo and a banner. So this is the Instagram post.
Awesome.
Is there a way to change this to a video? Like how would you?
If you animate,
Yep.
you can like animate
video.
those pieces, or yeah.
Yeah, you could click on video.
Yeah, what does this do?
See what happens. It'll change the size, but then you have to add some, motion to it. Or add another page. But you could easily go to animate and just put an animation on it.
Okay. Oh. Wow.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's like when you make a really fun PowerPoint and you want to click all the different transitions. It can get really cool. But yeah, and then you can hit like the plus button, and that's where like in the same thread, you can now upload like a video and maybe like, add things around it to continue that story. So like maybe you have that logo that pops in, but then the next screen is someone, talking about their experiences, and you just have like their name or any necessary information with them.
Yeah. Do you know how I would be able to like animate this part so it's like a reel of pictures going by? Is that possible?
That's one of those things where like that's a video function and not a Canva, like that's yeah. You could do the little the animations, but you don't get to really like design your animation. You just have to pick one.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But this is a great example. And so when you're collecting video too, I think, you always want to be mindful if this is kind of what you're going for, and maybe it's more for YouTube. And if you're collecting video stories, make sure people hold their phone horizontally, versus if you're doing something for Instagram, have people hold their phone vertically for the stories, because that's more of the native format. So it's good to think about that distribution.
Is there already like a template for Instagram versus Facebook? Like,
yep.
They size it properly.
Oh, yeah. When you scroll up, there should be.
These are all the
for Facebook.
Instagram post. There was a
Facebook post.
Instagram post. Instagram story is different.
Okay,
I think somebody has a
animated social media.
video shop. Okay, yeah, video shop to edit and splice clips. Thank you. So yeah, there definitely are other programs you can use if you need to edit your clips before bringing them into Canva. Even on your phone. You can import it and use it as a video. You can create a clip.
All right, I'm gonna.
I don't think I understand. Deb, can you say what your question is? I don't think I understand.
So I was just thinking about that question about animating those images that were at the bottom of the screen. Like if you just created a separate Canva of those images and exported it as a video, couldn't you import that then as a video into Canva and then use it that way?
Yeah, I guess you have to kind of separate out the layers.
But I think I have done that, where you impose one video on top of another video. That might work. That's something to try.
Yeah, but you were just saying that there would have to be a video already to be able to animate it. So I'm just wondering if you just have the stills, you can create a video out of it in Canva, right? Sorry, for some reason I couldn't type right and it was coming out all misspelled. So thanks for letting me ask it.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, I think just to kind of following up on that, it is useful to think about, like we've used Canva you could kind of do some stuff in Canva, and then if you are like editing in Premiere, you could bring it into Premiere, or you could do some editing, video editing in another program and get your kind of video clip how you want it and then bring it into Canva. But it's, you know, Canva is not, it's not Photoshop, it's not Premiere. So it kind of, it's best to use it for its strengths and not try to like be like, oh, why can't I make my podcast in Canva? You know,
Yeah, and there's some like very particular things that you might want from a graphic design app that you just can't do. There's some very like specific, like just being able to get in there and control everything is not, that's not what it does. So you might have to like kind of get into the nitty gritty somewhere else, but it does allow for a lot of really good, especially like if you need something with a quick turnaround, or if you're just like figuring out your brand and your theme for whatever this project is, it's a really good place to just like start and get some things out.
Ooh, articulate 360. Great. Cool. Other features that it would be useful for us to do a walkthrough while we're in this screen share mode, just so folks can kind of get a sense for how it looks on the back.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Go back into my automatic translation features.
I do not believe so.
I don't think so. Yeah, in terms of language, you're on your own. I mean, you could use the text to add layers of text in different languages by copying and pasting, you know, but that wouldn't, there's no translation kind of native within Canva. There is Canva in other languages. So like we have a Spanish speaking group of producers we work with. And so they can go to Canva and everything's in, you know, in Spanish. And Canva also has great tutorials that they've designed, you know, in-house that I often kind of reference as well. And those are all here. So even if you kind of wanted some inspiration, or you're like, where do I start? They break it up in terms of, are you a nonprofit? Are you an educator? Are you using this for a business? And that can help kind of steer you in terms of the kinds of, where to get started.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. The other, could go back into the video if that's useful, or go back into like some of the content we've created. I thought it was really useful to see all those examples of like 50th anniversary, right? So I think it really helps in terms of maintaining brand consistency if within Canva you kind of develop a color palette, you develop kind of like a world of graphics and iconography, and it becomes easier to create related marketing materials.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. Do folks feel like they learned a new feature in Canva or something that they might want to go home and try?
I like that you can change something to fit different formats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super helpful. And even just like, again, you can always just like copy and paste it into a new template that has the right sizing. So if that like, it's like an extra step, but it's doing the same thing. But it does help to save all those things in like that one folder, right? So you have like your folder for this workshop, and now you have like what your Instagram post is, what your Facebook post is, what your flyer is for it. and it has like similar information, but you're designing them based on what you need for each platform, because it does differ.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah, we are not. Okay, great. There's a feedback form in the webinar. But no, thank you for sharing too, because we use it. We're not the Canva experts. We're not paid by Canva. We're learning every day.
Yeah.
So it's, but
Yeah.
Well,
like
Laura and Gabe, sorry if I missed this earlier, but I think you introduced yourselves, but I'm not sure if you talked much about PhillyCAM, and some folks here may not be familiar. If you want to just talk a little more about your organization.
sure. I don't mind, Gabe. You
you want me to
Gabe
go?
does our orientation. So she's love talking about it. Yeah, PhillyCAM has been like a proud TLC member for a long time. We're a community media center, and we operate the public access cable television station channels, and we have a low power FM radio station, and we're really like a learning space. So anybody in the region can come to our building physically or virtually and sign up for classes, learn how to create content, whether that's audio content, radio, television, video, and then we distribute it on our channels. And so, yeah, we help people from the concept all the way through production and distribution and getting it seen. And it's a great community here. So definitely I think that the benefit of PhillyCAM is folks can really enter like at any level, any educational or experience level. And it's a great community of folks who support each other and helping create the kinds of messages and information that they want to see out there in the world. So. And we're located downtown on 7th Street between Market and Chestnut. That's where our physical location is.
Yeah, and you can visit phillycam.org and give us a visit there. And if you're interested in becoming a member, you can always talk to us and make your own videos, make your own things that can go on the television, or make a cool audio story to go on our radio station. I'm sure you all have amazing stories to tell, and we would love to have them.
We have members in our community news program who are producing their videos in Canva, like they don't have Premiere. And so they're doing interviews with their phone or on Zoom and creating those recordings and then bringing them in Canva and adding graphics and submitting it to the channel. So it's definitely, you can do a lot without having to pay for all these programs.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, thanks so much, Gabe and Laura, for of your designs and tips with us. And then I also just, I do want to thank Comcast. They are a sponsor of TLC's monthly webinar series. And as Laura mentioned, I did drop a link in the chat to a feedback form. If you don't mind just taking a moment to fill that out. We do take a look at those and use them to help us decide what kind of programming to have in our monthly webinars in the future, and any other ways we can improve them. So yeah, and thanks to all of you for joining. And yeah, if there are no final questions or comments, we can let you move on with your day.
All right, thanks everyone. I'll see you around.
Thank you.
Okay.